is up? My name is Matthew McCack, and I'm here with my brother, Justin McCack.
Hey, everybody.
This is Room 51, where we talk all things board gaming, and today we're coming at you with a roll for thought. Justin, what are we talking about?
So today, we're talking about this idea where in a game, you might feel like I am playing better than everybody.
Yeah.
But because I'm using the best strategy and everybody else is not, it's actually hurting me in the game.
Yeah.
And that can feel a bit frustrating sometimes where it's like,
Yeah.
no, because you're not supposed to do that. And I plan for you to kind of do that because you're supposed to be using that best strategy. And you not only hurt yourself by not doing it, you also hurt me because you did not play the best strategy that you're supposed to play.
The first game that came to mind for me, because I think this is my biggest pet peeve with this game.
Ooh, okay.
And it's why I think I personally stop it from coming to the table.
Interesting. Okay, I don't know.
It's one of your games that you really like.
Really? Do I know that you feel this about this
Yeah,
game?
you do.
I don't know what game you're talking about, actually.
I'm talking about
I know what game you're talking about, sorry.
Downforce.
Yes. Okay.
Okay. So many times, right? Like, the person who is winning the race. So, okay, for those who are not familiar with Downforce,
Right.
It is a racing game.
Yeah.
And you're playing cards that allow you to move all of the cards.
All of them, not just your own. And you decide how they move.
You decide how they move and everything.
Yeah.
And the card will also tell you, like, how many spaces each card gets to move.
And in what order you're going to move.
Yeah. So there's that. But the biggest part of the game, because ultimately it's not about winning the race. It's about who has the most money at the end of the race, because you're betting on cars. So you don't even have, like, your own car could win, which does give you some money, but also you want to bet, right? Like, who's going to win. So there's that. Now, so many times the person who wins the race, when we play in our group, also wins the game because they bet on themselves. And what happens is everybody else is betting on that car. And so they're trying to also help that car along. And it's like, stop doing that.
Yeah.
You know? And it's something that I feel like I'm the only one who's not, and then trying to stop them from winning, which ultimately leads to my downfall. I come in like last place or whatever because I was the only one trying to stop them. And that's just one instance. That's just one game that comes to mind.
So truthfully, with Downforce, one of the a lot of times people promote Downforce by saying, hey, what's really cool about this game is you don't have to win the race to win the game.
Yeah.
And we have never played a game. Neither of us have ever been in a game with Downforce where that's occurred. And I do agree that I've done it too, where I'm very much, what I'll try to do sometimes is I'll try to get everybody to bet on a certain car. And then, but really I'm betting on this other car. And then I try to swing this car over, screw over the lead car. And it's very hard. And like you said, there is something to that where, no, stop betting on that car because the person themselves that owns that car bet on that car also.
Yeah.
And they get extra money for winning the race and for betting on their own car.
So they automatically win.
It is going to, there's no way you can win if you bet on that car.
Yeah.
And that is the frustrating piece, I think. You're relying on somebody else to realize, no, if you do that, you cannot win.
Yeah.
You are going to make this other person win.
Exactly.
I know it looks like your best option, but you can't win. And that's very frustrating. There was a game right before this video started that you mentioned. It's a trick-taking game that I tend to play with my mother and father. It's called King. It's a 3-person trick-taking game. And pretty much, if you have to call one person's going to have to call how many hands they're going to win before a round starts, and it's played over 11 rounds. So if you call you're going to win 8 hands, and then you don't win 8 hands, you go down 8 points. But if you make those 8 hands or more, you make points based off however many hands you got. Now, in this game, generally speaking, if you are not the person that called how many hands you're going to win, you and the other person that didn't call it should be trying to get that person down. The one that called how many, you want to make sure that they get that negative point.
Yeah.
And if sometimes to do that, you hurt yourself. You sometimes intentionally don't take hands. You intentionally don't take tricks.
Yeah, meaning that you get less points.
You're going to get less points, but you're doing it intentionally because you think that's the best way to try to make them fall short.
Right.
If you're playing like that, but then the other person's not playing like that, that person is now just hurting the both of you. I just gave up points, but now you're also screwing both of us because they're doing the decision debt the most. You're helping them get the scenario they want.
Yes.
That is something that can get very frustrating in a game.
Yeah, and I think this is something that I dislike that happens in games, because normally I don't care if I lose.
Sure.
Right? I'm okay. I'm there to have fun or whatever. But I think with these instances, and I know it could come across as like egotistical, like, well, I'm playing better than all of you, and so that's why I lost, kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
It's like, well, that doesn't make any sense. But in certain circumstances, it does, I think. And the reason why I don't, why it gets to me so much is that it actually takes away from the fun of the game.
Sure.
Because now you're not actually playing the game itself, right? Like in our example for Downforce,
Right.
part of it is the bluffing and everything.
Yeah.
There's no bluffing to be had when there's this one card. Just go, like, even what you were saying where it's like, oh, I want people to think, that card or whatever, and then I'm going to switch it. You know, you can't play it if other people are not in that mindset playing the game the way I think it's supposed to be played.
I agree with that, because I think it's especially frustrating when now you can argue, no, you have to just pivot. Okay, somebody is playing the game differently. You now have to pivot to what they're doing. I'm totally fine with that. The problem is in something like what we're talking about with Downforce, there's no pivot to be had.
There's nothing to do.
I'm the only one that is, if I follow suit, I'm going to lose the game. If I don't follow suit, I'm going to lose the game. It's kind of frustrating because it's a little bit the same reason why we get frustrated when the game feels very luck-based.
Yeah.
It's because it now doesn't feel like it matters much about my decisions.
Yeah.
I'm now relying on just this luck of an outcome.
Right.
I think it kind of feels a little bit like that.
Yeah. And not enough people are talking about how this is a problem for Downforce.
I love Downforce, by the way.
I like it. I just wish that it didn't have that thing in it where it allows for, players to just do that.
I guess it's also kind of up to the players to start realizing, hey, we gotta stop doing that.
I don't know how many times our group has to play this game to realize not to do that.
I think, to me, it's pretty funny that I played a game where one of my friends won. We were playing the 3-player game. Each of us had 2 cars, right? So in a 3-player game, each player had 2 cars. I played first game. One of my friends, both of their cars came in first and second, and everybody bet on their cars. And obviously he bet on himself, so he got like an insane score.
Yeah.
The very next game, the exact same thing happened for me. I now had the 2 cars that won the race.
Yeah.
They came in first and second. I obviously bet on myself the whole way through, and it was just funny because nobody really. The problem was just too many. They both bet on my car also. It's like, it does not make sense. You have to bet on an unlikely car, I guess. So I don't know, let us know what you think on how Downforce and...
Yeah, I mean, I know we focus on Downforce a lot. There's other games that do this too.
It's just a good, Downforce for us at least especially has been it's a good example for what we're talking about.
Yeah, I would say like even like a multiplayer like war game.
Yeah,
everybody's pretty much helping. Like if you're not attacking the player that needs to be attacked.
Yes.
Things like that.
Exactly. And in that, it's much more obvious of like, okay, this is practically just king making at this point.
Yeah. And Never Age of Sail kind of has this problem as well.
It can. I think.
It can. I'm not saying that all of these games have these problems. I'm just saying they can have.
Yeah, you can get. Yes, I agree with that. Yeah.
So let us know what you think. Do you think that we're just terrible players and we just suck and we think too highly of ourselves, or has this sort of thing happened to you where you were kind of feeling like, man, I'm losing because I'm actually playing the game better?
Right, exactly.
Which is weird. I don't know.
Yeah.
But anyway, thank you so much for watching. If you liked this video, please go ahead and give us that like button. If you really like our channel, give us that subscribe button. And if you hate us, well, I'm surprised you made it this far. This has been Room 51. We'll catch you next time.